So child development 112, week 2, we're talking most about injury prevention and minor injuries. So we're going to be doing that tonight. But we started off talking about the new assignment, which is the California mandated reporter training. And again, if you've taken it before, show us your certificate and you're good to go. And we'll give you something similar, equitable work. And then if you are within 6 months of renewal, we're going to suggest to go ahead and take that again. But just the childcare worker one, right, Professor Johnson?
Yes.
Yes, and then which is 3 hours instead of the full 8. And then when it says the exam takes an hour, I haven't taken that exam, so I don't know if it really truly does take an hour. So just keep it in mind. If they say an hour, maybe less, maybe more, somewhere in there, probably an average.
I have a question.
Yeah, jump in, Ashley.
So I taken it before like 2 years ago in 2019, and I think I'm due for another one, but
Okay.
I tried finding the email and like the email's just blank, like where they send me like the certificate. So the only one that would actually have a copy would be my boss.
And okay, you're still working there?
Well, right now it's at the SCC center, so it's not open.
Oh, okay.
So what should I do?
Another student emailed me that same question, said that they worked at a district. The information was all from, but I couldn't find the certificate from the training that the school gave them. And my response was to the student is, you have time to submit the certificate. It doesn't have to be today, this week. You really have like a month to do the trainings. And so it's not something right away. So I would say check with your school's office. When you logged in, you probably had to create an account to take that. And if nothing else, and they may be able to give you the link to log in, and you probably forgot your password, like me. If anybody's like me, I didn't write my password down to that because I didn't think I'd be able to take it again. But you can, reset your password and then log on and probably get your certificate. The other thing is, in your personnel file, they probably have an electronic copy of your certificate, because if licensing came and said, I want to see everybody's certificate of completing that, they have to be able to pull it up. So my guess is they have it, and they have a file with your certificate, an image of your certificate in it somewhere. So it's not like has to be done this week thing. You've got a month. We have time to figure it out. So we'll work with you, and we'll find out some ways how we can figure that out. But my guess is this is my guess is somebody in the office has a copy of it in their files for you.
Right. And now, as just a tip for the future, keep a copy of everything.
Yeah.
Right. So right now, as we're looking, this is class, again, is one of the first classes that child development majors will take, where it's all child development majors. We don't have any other majors in here, right? Even if you're like, maybe even get a change or undecided, but you're like kind of, like you're on this path, right? Now we have to start looking at professional development. So we're not, again, Jody's talked about, we're not here to give busy work. We find this extremely important, and we're trying to get you guys ready for work, and not like ready for work later, but if you could get work now or in the next 6 months, you'll be ready to go. And even before we assigned this, I talked to a childcare provider, a director. I was like, so what do you think? She goes, yeah, you should do it before they come to me. It's like, great, here we go.
And just think how much better that's going to look when you apply, and you can say, I already have my mandated training completed, because you will have, what some directors have you do is come to the office and work on it right there. And whether they do that or they send you home and say you have to do it, some of them had to do it and you don't get paid for it. You don't get paid for that time to do this. So, I mean, at least you're getting paid in terms of points, and it counts towards your grade, so you are getting something out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so, and I think it'll just add, it's just gonna be, it's one of those things that not just kicks you up a notch, it kicks you up 2 or 3 notches over other candidates for the same job.
Again, think if you were the person hiring, who would you hire? The person who can start right away, who has all the stuff, or the person who like can start later, who has to like get all that stuff later? You're more work ready, and so which is really, really exciting. And so, and again, philosophically, knowledge is power, right? So if you're ever nervous about, and we'll talk about this as we go, if you're ever nervous, like, is that what that is? And how do I know? And this is the place to get all the information. It's all there. That's all they do. That's what they do. And it's fantastic that it's free. And I mean, honestly, it's so great. So just get in there. And if you have any questions, you know, ask us. I have this certificate and that, whatever. We'll make it right. We'll make it right. We just want to make sure you guys are all prepared.
Right.
Good.
The whole idea of putting this into this class and into our other 220 for child abuse, the child as victim course.
Now, I want to take a quick second just to say hi to everybody. We have like 13 people here tonight, which is great.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, which is great. And I know that it's kind of hard sometimes to carve out stuff, and Mondays can be Mondays, right? This Monday was a fun Monday, right? So you know what? I want to acknowledge the people who are here. So thank you. And if you're not here, that's great too. But really, you guys, the fact that you're here, taking the time out and being present, it really does elevate the entire conversation. We have a couple of cool activities planned on too, so that's kind of fun. So here's just a real quick agenda. This is going to look something like this every week. We'd like to check in and see how you guys are doing. And you guys, anybody want to jump in real quick to say hi and 2 cents? How you feeling? How you doing? You always can jump in, raise a hand, or just put it in chat. I hear somebody jumping.
I'll start.
Okay.
I'm doing well, and I don't know if you guys read my email, but or my response to you guys about I just had a tough week. All my kids were sick at the same time. It was horrible. Very horrible. So they're all better now, and I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. So this week's gonna be like my catch-up week and me trying to get back on the right track.
Absolutely. And just keep us, this is for everybody, but you know what, I'm glad you're doing well. Just keep us in the loop. We'll definitely want to know that everything is going okay, even if you know it's not.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Honesty is the best policy, especially when it comes to obviously health and safety, but honesty is the best policy in any case, right?
Yeah.
But glad that you're here, glad that things are looking up, and we get it. We are all radically doing our best, doing our best. And some days it looks fantastic and some days it does not, but it's still your best.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks for sharing, Tisa. Anyone else? You want to get something off your chest or
Me.
Jocelyn's like,
I just found out today that my boyfriend has COVID. And yeah, I was with him last week. I haven't seen him. And we already went through the whole COVID thing, and we're really scared because my dad's oxygen was in the 80s. So I'm freaking out right now just because we don't think we'll survive this again because it's so bad. So
have we heard of anybody getting it twice yet?
Oh yeah.
It can happen. Yeah, it can happen. So,
I'm sure. Yeah, I guess if it's a different strain.
Yeah. So right now I'm trying to find every distraction possible just to get it out of my brain, just because I haven't seen him for a week, and more or less that's when he got it. But I'm so yeah, I was kind of glad I had something to do tonight, something to get my mind off of it.
Good. Well, hopefully we'll get your mind off it.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
There's a lot of comfort in the routines that we have and keeping things as normal as possible, just going through those routines. Having 4 kids sick certainly is not routine, but having that happen, but there is comfort in doing the repetition, because we know what comes next. When something like this happens, we don't know what's going to come next. And it's very unsettling. It can be.
Yeah. And that unsettling piece can just wreak havoc, right? It's hard when we feel like we're in control, things feel a little bit more calm and controlled, right? But when things are happening around us, it's hard to try to focus. So I always say, ground yourself, and we can talk about doing even some activities in this class. I'll do some mindfulness, but yeah, like Jocelyn said, just somewhere that you can be distracted, or somewhere where you have control, and you have control here, right? We have shared control, but you can read, you can do your work, you can do whatever. I find that work provides that consistency for me, right? When things are like a mushroom cloud back here, this is predictable. And I can answer an email, or I can ignore an email, or I can make a worksheet, or I can ignore a worksheet. Like, so I find a lot of empowerment here. So I hope that we can provide some of that for you guys. Good. Thanks for sharing, Jocelyn. Thank you for being honest. It's good.
Yeah.
Let it out. Anyone else? You don't have to, but please jump in if you need to get something off your chest.
I work in a school district, and I just registered to get the vaccine.
Good. How are you feeling about that?
Good. I mean, I know I'm gonna have to wait a while, but at least I've started the process.
I know. It's almost like that light in the end of the tunnel just gets a little bit closer. Still off in the distance, but it's closer. Right? That's another upside of working with kids. Like, you're in group 1B.
Yeah. And my mom's already got it because she's a therapist. So she just got the second round today. So
that's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Wherever we can get it, it's going to be an imperfect system getting it out there. But I mean, it's just so many people and so much administration. So just be patient, be flexible, keep your appointments. And if you guys are interested,
on Thursday.
I know, so excited. I'm getting my first one Friday. And if you guys need the information on where to sign up, if there's been emails coming through the school, but Rite Aid's doing it, Walgreens is doing it, and then Athena. That's pretty much so let me know if you guys need the links for that. I can send that in there. Okay, cool. Great. Thanks.
Yeah, I'd appreciate the links, please.
Okay, absolutely. I'll get those in there in a sec. Yeah. Okay, so did we answer all your questions with the mandated reporter training? I want to make sure that we button that up before we go forward.
Does anybody have any questions?
So I actually just found mine. So I would just have to do a 3-hour training instead of a 9.
That's fantastic. That's better than.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So yeah, so you'll just have to do the 3 hours as long as. So what is the date of your the first course?
It says 8/25/2019.
Oh, perfect. You are just right there. Yep. Just finish that childcare one and you're set to go.
Okay. I know, right? Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Ashley, for asking. I'm glad you found it too.
Okay, and so I can move us on to our first little survey. I have a quick little survey.
Yes.
Yay, just a quick little survey. So I'm going to first I'm going to do is put this in there. And this is, hope it's not going to be massive, but I'm going to put this in the chat link, this link in the chat, excuse me. And yeah, that works. And you go to that website, and it's just going to ask you what your experience is with kids so far. Like, do you have experience with infants, toddlers, or school age? As I pull up the other stuff. And then I'll pull up the responses. I'll give it like 3 minutes.
Oh, you're using the minty.
Yeah, I figured I would just do minty again.
That's so nice.
So it's just that one question, correct?
Just one question. We just kind of want to get an idea where you guys, what experience you guys have had so far.
It doesn't let you click more than one option, huh?
Right.
Okay, so pick the one that you have the most experience with. Put it that way. She's like, do I have to do the math? No, just take a guess. We just want an idea. Okay, let's give it like 1 more minute. And I did put another link in the chat for the Athena. And
Yeah, I was just gonna look, I had a couple other ones.
And then I'm putting Walgreens.
CVS is doing them too, but they seem to be kind of slow rolling them out.
I have a quick question. I can't do the survey. Is that because I'm on my phone? Is it like only through the laptop?
Think about that.
Maybe because it's just a regular website, but it's not that big of a deal. But at the same time, is there? Oh, you are on your phone. Okay.
Right, so they wouldn't be able to switch out, maybe,
It might be mutually exclusive to Zoom.
right.
But that I don't know. That's a great question though. But like, keep us in the loop on that kind of stuff, because as we use technology, we don't know all the things that it does or doesn't. It's like, oof. Sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's like, oh, that wasn't great. So those are the three places I know of scheduling, and then like Jody said, CVS. But I think they were the last ones to get it. All right, everybody, did everybody have a chance to answer? If you could. All right, let's see.
Yes.
Let's see what it looks like.
Let's see.
Tell me.
So let me share. This is interesting.
I'm
Let me
interested.
share. For screen. Wait, am I? Oh, there's the. I'm looking for my.
Jocelyn, what's up?
Hold on, I can't find my toolbar. Hold on.
Jocelyn,
I'm-
your hand raised. Did you have a question?
Oh, no, I think I did it when, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thanks. Sorry.
Okay. I didn't see it a second ago, and then all of a sudden I saw it. Oh,
Why can I? There we go. I was like, why can I not find my bar? Hold on, where is it? So this is the results for our class. Most people have experience with school age, but I know that there's multiple answers, but the bulk of the experiences with school age, which is great. So that kind of gives us a place to go as we're talking about things that we're doing in the chapters and whatnot.
yeah.
Good. Okay, good. I could have done another one that said you have multiple, like, or check as many as you want, but this one just does the one bar chart, right? But this is great. So thank you.
You gonna go or you just sitting there, fool?
Oh, we're gonna
You should have gone.
be sure to mute yourself, if not, we can mute you.
Yeah. The other thing is, it'd be curious to see if you're like for the toddler and the infant responses, if you're still working with that age group.
Oh yeah. I just asked in general, just like in total, they might not be currently working.
Yeah.
I can set that up for next time.
Yep, we'll have to do that. It just affects a couple of things on my end when I'm thinking about the grant.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Oh, and by the way, I've got some TP stuff to share with you for later. Okay, okay, great. So the next thing that we have, unless we have anything to wrap up on that one, the next thing we have is do we want to do our breakout rooms for the appendices, or do we want to get them comfortable and do the link that you showed?
Oh,
The link that you shared with me.
the one with recalls?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, let's do that one.
Okay, good. And it looks like we have a couple more people that showed up too, which is really exciting. So hi, Melody. Hi, Marilyn. I hope I got everybody. I think I did, but it says that we have 17 now, which it does include the both of us. But
Yes.
yeah. So I'm going to put in the chat. I'm going to put in chat a link. Let's see in here. There we go. And I am going to create some breakout rooms. I'm hoping everybody's sort of familiar with breakout rooms, but first I'm going to put the link in here. And if you go, oops, not that link. If you are able to, wait, maybe, hold on, I think I did that wrong. Let's try that again, take two. If you are able to pull that link up. If you are not, it's not a problem, because you're going to be in a breakout room. I think that's it. Hold on. I didn't press enter yet. Yeah, that's it. We're going to be talking about, since we're talking about children's safety, we're going to be talking about this fun little activity that Professor Johnson wanted to share. It's about looking at, you want to tell them about more about that? You want to step in?
One, Never go, well, in a lot of stores, they'll have, especially like Target, Walmart, if you're at the return center, they'll have flyers that show that a certain products have been recalled. A lot of times that's the only place you'll hear about them, unless you happen to go to the Consumer Product Safety Commission website. And so that's how you would hear about it. The manufacturers aren't going to go notify you most of the time if there's a recall on one of their products. There was a really popular baby jogger, and it was really, really expensive. Don't remember what the name of it is. My daughter had one. And the front wheel would come off, and it would like catapult the person pushing it over the front of it. And they had numerous complaints about that. And they even would send people, if you requested it, a modification to your baby jogger, but yet it still happened. They could not get that pulled from the market. You would not, it was unbelievable how many people had horrible accidents, like broken bones. And didn't seem like the kids got injured too much, but it was the person who, and it was a jogger, so it was meant for you to run behind it. But the adults got hurt by it, and they still couldn't get it pulled off the market, which was shocking to me after hearing about that. I'll try to find the video on it while we're in the breakout room.
So, so I'm going to go ahead and open some breakout rooms. It'll just kind of assign you automatically. When you see a link, go ahead and click on the link. It'll get to the group and open the cspc.gov link. And we're just going to have an open chat about it. I want you guys to look through. Should we go by pages?
Right, there were 5 pages. The last page only has 2 items on it, but it lists children's, I believe what I put is children's toys in there. And that was the search term that I used, but, and that sometimes it'll tell you what was wrong with it, but look at how they word the product that's being recalled and what they say and what they don't say about.
Right. So what I'll do, just to be clear, I'll do 4 rooms. So if you're in group 1, you're going to focus on page 1.
Right.
If you're in group 2, you'll focus, right? Right. So because the last page only has 2, I just went ahead and did 4 rooms. And
they'll only say next. They won't give you a page number, which I thought was really sneaky.
Oh,
They don't want you to know that, oh, there's 10 pages. So it'll just say next, but the last next is 5. So I know that there's 5 pages.
It's shady. Nobody wants to,
very sneaky.
Yeah, nobody wants to shout from the highest mountain. We cut corners and you could get injured.
We do. All right. And so how many minutes? What do you want to do?
Let's do 5.
Okay.
Got my timer. So do you guys see the link?
Okay.
I see only a couple people in there. Good job. Click the link and go ahead and jump in there. Yes.
When we click the link, what do we do exactly? Like just put apply? Click
No, when you see a link, says click this link, or it just says apply, then you end up in a room and there's only 4 people in there and you can chat. It looks like this, but smaller.
Oh, okay.
So click it. Yeah, go for it.
Thank you.
Hi, can you hear me? Who's Retroblade? This is like your like gamer picture? Totally fine, but I just need to know who it is. I put it in the chat. Who is this? Please put a name so we know who you are. I kind of take roll and I don't know who it is. And if I don't hear from you in the next couple minutes, I gotta boot you from the class. Hello? 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 Hi, who's Retroblade? Knock, knock. You have about 1 more minute and then I gotta drop you from the class just for tonight. Hello? Hi, let me know who that is. I didn't even see. There she is. She's in 3. Yay. We're gonna like do like a group wrap up. Hold on 1 sec. Okay, good. Looks like everyone's coming on back, which is great. And then I'm gonna ask you guys what you saw, because I didn't jump into the rooms. And I want to hear what you guys saw. Okay, cool. Yeah, now see, yeah, you guys don't have to do anything. It just like puts you back in, which is really cool. All right, awesome. All right, so I didn't jump into the breakout group, so I didn't see what you guys saw. So tell me what you saw. What did you notice? Did you see anything? What'd you see?
So page 1, I noticed a lot of choking hazards, but mainly things that you would think that they would consider when making the toys.
Yeah.
The basic, not one of them was the child's finger could get caught in the mechanism,
Oh,
which,
yeah.
kids are gonna try to figure out what's going on. So it's like the first thing they go for.
Absolutely. And for those of you, which is most everybody been around kids, they will find the one thing that will hurt them. They're good at that. Great. What else? What else did you guys notice? Thank you, Lillian.
On page 2, we noticed that there was a lot of recall for toys that had lead on them. They exceeded the amount. And
Okay.
so those that, one of the girls in our group actually looked that up, and it's like so dangerous to, like the brain and whatnot. So, yeah.
Yeah, and just for point of reference, there is 0 levels of lead that is safe for a human being. 0.
Oh, wow.
0 levels of lead are safe for human beings.
Yeah.
And they're mostly found in older homes and buildings. I was popping up looking, trying to find if they had lead testing kits for free in California. Some states have them, but this said older homes are more likely to contain lead-based paint. So if it was before 1940, 87% of the homes, your home was built before 1940, 80%, 87%. Between 1940 and 1959, 69% of the homes may have lead paint.
That's my house.
And between 1960 and 1977, 24% of the homes are likely contain lead-based paint. So this isn't just like, oh, it's not a big deal. So as I was looking over at this, I didn't see who pointed out about the brain development, but remember the water crisis, the problem in Chicago with all the lead pipes?
Flint, Michigan.
Flint, Michigan, yes. Flint, Michigan. I said it right in there.
Yes.
But Flint, Michigan, where they had, and when they looked at the children and their brains, these children had a lot of cognitive delays, and their brains were smaller. So this is like significant. Lead is a big, big, big problem.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And who lives in older homes, and who's more likely to live in older homes and homes that have lead paint?
Well, not affluent people.
Not affluent. Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it can even be in your soil.
Absolutely.
That you don't even realize.
And just so you know, that issue in Flint, Michigan is still going on to this day. It's not passed. The National Guard has to deploy in order to pass out bottled water every single day.
Every single day?
Every single day to anybody who lives in Flint, Michigan. There's a whole documentary on it, and it's the average income there is like $20,000 a year. So nobody can even afford to move away.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just compounding poverty, and then COVID, and then now bottled water is not your best friend either. It's like, oof. Yeah, it's a wild thing. And it's not, and again, this is not a third world country. This is our country.
No, this is our country. And here's one for you. Learn about there's actually lead in lipstick and other cosmetics. There's a reason I don't wear lipstick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just look at this.
Dumb question. Do pencils and like lead, are they made out of lead?
That's graphite.
Graphite.
Pencils have never been made out of lead. It was the paint that used to contain lead and how people got
Oh, okay.
lead poisoning
On the outside.
on the outside from like if they would chew on their pencils or like handling it. That's how they got it, and they just nicknamed it lead pencils because the lead of the paint.
Yeah.
They've never been lead. They've always been graphite.
It's a fallacy. Yeah, it's a total myth. Absolutely. What about groups 3 and 4? Would you guys notice?
Our group had child toys, and it related to how toys are like bad for children in ways they can choke on them, and then it also talked about lead poisoning as well.
Okay.
And yeah, just how the toys can do a lot of damage, especially when it comes to choking.
Yeah, and it's really kind of interesting because even when Jody and I were setting up the class, I said, are we still dealing with lead? I was like, really? Still? Like it's been going on since we figured it out, you know? I mean, since we noticed that the lead paint in the houses and things like that. And so what has it been, 50 years since there's been PSAs on lead paint and lead toys and whew. And then just as a, yeah, but
It was one of the big ones that that I was surprised at how many. I'm like, oh, come on, Fisher Price, they shame on them. They ought to know better for sure.
Right. And then there are conscious companies like Melissa and Doug, but that doesn't preclude small pieces with choking hazards. So there's not anything that's perfect. And I joke about it in my house. If there's a booger, a Band-Aid, and a paperclip, it's going to be turned into a projectile or a gun. So just know that toys themselves, they can have, you know, their inherent fail safes and whatnot. But, you know, there's a creativity that comes with just like a rock and a piece of gum. You know, I call it Kid MacGyver. Anyone else care to go before we're going to do one more? We're going to do one more fun little thing.
Okay. Cool.
One good, but this was good. You guys are starting to see this again. When's the last time you saw an advertisement for check your kids' toys?
Yeah, we talked about the choke tubes.
Oh yeah, and Mexican, and Leslie put in the chat, Mexican candy has lead. If you get your spices from Mexican places, you know what I'm saying? Their scales are Chinese scales, and the scales are lead. So the lead gets in, like your oregano, you're like, yeah, I need like my oregano and pozole or whatever, and then all of a sudden there's like, it's hard. It's hard. Again, it's one of these things. We'll talk about nutrition later, but that's just like there's things like this everywhere. Tahine, I don't know. Does tahine have lead? Because that's a problem.
No, because it's regulated by the U.S.
Oh, good. All right.
There's things that if you see like where it comes from, and if it was allowed through our country, like they're pretty strict.
Right.
Well, they're supposed to be pretty strict on that. So
yeah, and those things are changing all the time too. So it's it's funky. Okay, good work. Yeah. Jamie says, I also saw the amount of how many items, Graco items needed to be recalled, which was 398,000 for choking hazards.
And these are big companies that sell a lot of toys. That's the craziest thing, you know. So if nothing else, we shared a resource with you about safety. And if your classroom does not have a choke tube in it, you better get one.
Can you explain what that is in case somebody
that should be standard equipment in every classroom. It's not required, but I personally feel like every classroom, you shouldn't have to go to the office to get the choke tube to see if something is a choking hazard. We want to make the supervision part of our classroom, we want to make it easier so we don't have to say no, and so that those hazards aren't there. And that's just one more thing we have to take our eyes off of the children for.
Yeah. And so now that you guys are getting more comfortable with the breakout rooms, we're going to break you out into breakout rooms based on the appendices that are assigned this week. That means that means the back side of your book, kind of like the back ones back here. The label Queen's been at it again. So I know I'm so compulsive about that. So we're going to do six groups this time. So few people. And it's just, again, we're going to randomly assign you. We're going to give it, Professor Jody and I were going to go in between. You want to take the first three and I'll take last three?
Well, yeah, we'll be, yeah. You put me in a room last time and I didn't pop out.
Well, it did it by itself. So let's
Yeah.
follow that one. Let's follow
Okay.
that lead.
So I'll have 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it like that. So let's do one.
I'll take the last 3.
So let's do it this
Oh.
way. Well, I'm gonna share my screen so you guys
Yeah.
can see, and I'll try to I'll try to type it in here so we can actually make that correlation here. So we're gonna do like this: A equals group 1. Just keep it simple.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
And I'll put that in the chat, and then I'll put it in the announcements as well.
Yeah, I kept looking at that going, why do you have letters? Now I know why you have letters.
What are you doing, crazy? It's like, yeah, you know, it's sometimes they know me in here. You know, it makes sense in this world. It's not that I have voices. It's only concerning when the voices answer back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna break it. So we'll have a little bit smaller groups this time, which is nice, but at the same time, get your book ready, whether you have a copy or already you have electronic version, and get to the end. So Appendix A starts on page 429. Let's start with that. 429.
But that's if you have a hard copy. So that'll at least get you in the right range of for your the other one, for like where to at least
Just
start
like scroll all the way down. It's about 30 pages to the end of the book. And let me get those breakout rooms going. Good. So this time we're going to have, let's see, question in the chat real quick. Of course, the chat like hides behind my stuff. And I'm like, no, it's not. Let me stop the share that way. Help. Yeah, 423. Woohoo! All right, thank you, Jamie. I just want to make sure that we have 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, and let's do this one. I'm gonna let us recreate. Let's do 6. There we go. It was trying to have me move people from room to room. I was like, no thanks. And then you know what? I am going to Jody, you're in a group of 2, so I'm going to move you out to a group of 3 so the other person's not alone when you move. That would be good. That would be pretty fun. Let's do it like that. Okay, cool. All right, so it looks like there's 2 or 3 people in each room. Again, I will put in here, I'm going to put in the chat what those numbers and letters are. Okay, can you guys see those? A is 1, C is 2, D is 3, F is 4, G is 5, and H is 6. These correlate to the appendices in the back. So I'm going to go open the rooms, and again in 5 minutes I'll kind of check in. The goal here is for you to look at the appendix, and Jody, you had a prompt on that?
Yes, we're going to look at that and look at it from the perspective of both a parent and a teacher. So think about, okay, if I were a parent, and so say Appendix C is the health and safety checklist, and I'm a parent and what do I want to see? It talks about things in, like the exit signs I clearly marked. As a teacher, what do I want to know about that? How do I feel about these things? How does this affect my job?
So let me go ahead and open those.
So we'll talk about each of the different forms that are in here. We're going to skip the licensing one because you'll get to that later.
Right. I will see FG&H shortly. You guys got it. You got it. I can see everybody jumping in. I'm gonna join here. GH. Yes. Hi. It almost like threw me out of the entire meeting. Oh my gosh. How are you guys, Lily and Jamie?
Oh, we're good.
What do you think of emergency mitigation checklist? That sounds super.
450. I'm still trying to get to it. I'm sorry.
453.
450. yeah, 450. I think my book's off. My book's like plus 6 pages, so that's helpful for me
Oh,
to know.
well, yeah, mine's the Google Drive. I don't know which one you have, Lillian.
It's the same. So it is page 453. It's the emergency well, actually, I don't know. What was our letter?
Emergency mitigation checklist.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
So mitigation is a fancy word for trying to lessen something. I'm trying to mitigate this. And so if you look at the very first part, it says large appliances or refrigerators braced to the wall. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't heard about anybody in the house having a refrigerator fall on them, but I guess it's possible. So what they're trying to do is mitigate that danger.
All right.
So keep going through it and see what you would come up with. Like if you were a teacher, what's on there that's like new, interesting, or anything. Same with a parent. What would a parent be most interested in seeing on a list like this?
Got it.
Make sense? All right, and I'll leave you to it. Where is my? And I'm leaving them right now. This is so wild. Hi.
So pretty much it's talking about
my computer is not happy with how I am doing the breakout rooms back and forth. So please be patient with me. So you guys got the emergency response plan for G, which is excellent. Very, very good. So have you guys noticed anything yet? What would a parent think? What would a, oh, there's my 1 minute. I'm gonna put her.
I mean, it seems pretty well planned out. Like what kind of plans?
So I mean, would it be as? I mean,
so if you were a parent or if you were a teacher, how could you see this working well together, or is there something missing? Be critical. And I'll let you guys do it. I'm not going to hover. Where am I now? Okay, I'll see you in the big room in a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello. How's it going, Sarah? Leslie, I can't see what's from here. Ashley, how's it going? You guys got like an easy one, sort of.
Yeah,
it's just a
it's
checklist.
kind of starting because we just found it.
Okay, good. So who do you think this form would be best for? I mean, we kind of give you the prompt of look at it like from a teacher's point of view or a parent's point of view, but who is this really for?
Like as in terms of the type of parent or
who would use this form? Like who would be like, oh, I better use this form because community care licensing is coming out.
I think the director of the school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, how could as a director of the school using this form, filling it out, then be able to share that with teachers and parents? And I'll leave you to it. I'm just planting a seed.
Okay, thanks.
I'll see you in the big room in a few minutes. Oh, yeah. Yay. Everyone's making their way back.
We were kind of confused about what we were supposed to be talking about. So we were in break group 3, so that would be Appendix D, right?
Okay, yes. So Appendix D. We can do this. We can do this in the big room together. No worries. No worries. No worries. We're not expecting you guys to like have this all mastered. We just introduced it this week, right? We're just trying to give you guys a little bit of experience with it while we're in class together, just so you can ask these questions and you can kind of just say, oh, what was that? So let's wait a couple seconds. You'll see more people popping in. It'll be like this flood right now. It's coming in. Hi. So I thought we could share a little bit. Let's do as a class. We could do Appendix D together because there were some questions on this one, and I thought we could do it as a class.
Yeah, and I didn't get to the other rooms. We got started and I didn't get to 4, 5.
I know. I literally planted a seed and moved on because I knew I would just be talking forever and ever and ever. It's hard. Like I can do the timer and I can talk. I just can't like do them.
Yeah, so let's
I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
That sounds great.
Green and growing, green and growing. Okay, so everybody can turn to Appendix D. I think it's.
You mean A?
No, D. We'll go over D together, actually.
D.
D as in dog.
Doggy. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So this is an example injury/incident report form. And these are current as of 2019, 2020.
Now, here's the thing. These are forms that are not licensing forms because I see no LIC number on it, which means it's not the only form that I'm aware of that licensing has is for an unusual event, meaning the child had to go seek medical care. That's an unusual event. And you have to fill that out and you have 24 hours to get that form to licensing after the event. That you don't mess around with that. So anytime a child goes to the doctor because of something that happened, you better fill that form out and cover your rear end.
Sorry, quick question.
Yes.
What if the injury happened during that time? So I had an incident where like a child fell off a swing, and then we did like this portion. Like, I think that they did do this portion. I'm not too sure, but what if they didn't do this portion, and then the child ended up breaking an arm? Like, how would that work? Is that when we needed a fix? Is this when this form needs to be filled out?
Anytime a child gets injured, you want to document it. If a child falls, the ouch reports. A lot of schools do an ouch report. Something like that. The child fell down. This is who observed it. This is who saw it. This is what happened. This is what we did to treat it. Description of the first aid, where it says was medical treatment required. Yes, no, I would say no, no advanced medical treatment was done. Like, we didn't call EMS, or we didn't do anything, or the parents didn't say at the time they left that they were going to take the child to the doctor. But you always want to have that information, the date, the time, what happened, who was, because you just don't know what's going to happen, especially with head injuries.
Oh, no, yeah.
Those things might not show up for a while. And we know so much more now about head injuries and concussions than we did 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. But it's better to have more information, because the lawsuits come later.
Oh, yeah. So a good thing to keep in mind is, when in doubt, fill it out.
Fill it out. Yeah. So anytime a child is injured, even if it's a comfort boo-boo, I'm going to put some ice on it, because the child document. The child said they had an ouchie, you put ice on it and sat with the child for 5 minutes. The child felt like they were okay. You didn't notice that they weren't, their arm, they were using their arm like they normally would have afterwards. And that's it. But you can't make assumptions that something that happened when they got home, that the parent's not going to say, oh, that's related to that fall at school.
Yeah, you don't want that.
You don't know. You really don't know. I had a little girl who was about, she was probably about 13, 14 months old. We had bricks around our yard in between the well fence. She literally stepped backwards from the mow strip, was made out of bricks, fell back, stepped backwards off of it onto soft grass. And she ended up with what they called a compression fracture, which is a fracture that looks like you slam the child down on their feet. And that's what the ER doctor said it looked like. Now, here's the really great part. Mom is a doctor, dad is an attorney. And I'm going, oh no, I am in deep doo-doo here, because all they have to do is call social services and report it. And I filled out my paperwork that night, and it went to social services, and I just sat there waiting for them to show up for a week, going, okay. Now, the parents never called social services, so they never responded. Now, the hospital called social services. They're mandated reporters. They could have called and said, this is a suspicious break, but they didn't either. But I was sure that I was going to have a visit, and there were going to be a lot of questions. Now, my speculation personally is she was growing really, really fast, and her dad was 6'7". This little girl was tall for her age, and she was shooting up like a weed. And I just think her bones may not have been strong. But I'm not a medical doctor, and she hadn't been walking all that long. I couldn't make that diagnosis. And worse yet, I wasn't there. I'd gone to pick up the kids from school, and my school age kids and my two assistants were there, who were both CPR first aid trained. So it was totally fine. But I was like,
it's that thing. It's like when mom leaves is when the hot water heater breaks. It's that thing.
Yeah.
Just the second you turn your back, something out. But at least you knew your staff was trained and certified and you didn't have to worry about that. It just, those things happen.
Right. Yeah. But they did so many things wrong, like picked her up, tried to have her stand up, and I'm like, this, oh my God. You know, which is what's our natural instinct when a child falls or hurts himself? What do? How do you respond? What are you going to do? Oh, you fell down. Let me pick you up, right? That's kind of the natural response, because that little mommy, you know, that maybe that warm nurturing part in us that we want to cuddle, but that is like the number one worst thing you can do. Leave them where they are on the ground, do an assessment, and make sure everything is okay before you move a child, especially a child that's hit their head, has any kind of neck or back injury. Leave them on the ground. Don't pick them up, because you can do so much more damage than, and so it's like, it's really hard to retrain ourselves on that. But that is like, oh boy, yeah, you don't want to do that. And they talk about that in the first aid class, and we go, oh yeah, we won't do that. And then that mommy, that nurturing gene kicks in, and we scoop them right up and go, oh, are you okay? You know, and then of course, what did my assistant do? Puts them on the ground and goes, let's see if you're okay. And she can put any weight on that. And no. Yeah, but anyway, it happened. Accidents happen.
It does happen.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
It does
So
happen.
when in doubt, fill it out and and put it in a record, and make sure a copy of it goes in the home with the child that day.
Always write it down.
That's the other piece. It's not like put it in a file and hide it. It's make sure that the parent knows that something happened. Right. And if you are communicating with them about that, you're building that trust with the parents, and they're not going to call the SS when that, I mean, or whatever, you know what, that's how social services responds. They're so overworked that unless they have somebody going to make a complaint, somebody makes a complaint, chances are they're not going to come out for an injury. You know?
And so I want to encourage everybody is, now that you're familiar with the appendices a little bit, I know each group had one, go ahead and make sure you read through the other ones that you didn't do. And again, I like looking at things with a critical eye. In grad school, they used to call me the great deconstructor, because I'd be like, you know what, you didn't ask any questions about, my thing is, you know, inclusion or neurodiversity, whatever. I didn't see anywhere, like I'll be pushing that kind of situation. See what's missing. Even like Jody said, like it's missing the, you know, the license number. Like, okay, so maybe this is a statewide placeholder, and then we do have things that are more specific. You might have a different form in your program that if you're currently working in, see if they match up. Let's see what you got. So I'm encouraging you to keep looking through there, because there was one we skipped over. Which one did we skip over?
Which one did we skip over?
Yeah, we skipped over a big one.
A, C, D.
We skipped over a big one.
We skipped over.
We skipped over a big one. On purpose.
It was baby, boy, baloney, case. I wonder what letter that was. Anybody want to take a shot?
Baylor. I have a flash of a chat room. Jackie says B.
It is B.
Yeah,
we skipped over letter B.
B
and for appendix B, and for a good
reason. For big one, the big one.
It's a good one.
Right. Okay. So I'm just sharing the screen. That's the last little piece that we got going on for this week is our module 2. These are the items that are in module 2. So some of you have already poked around. Maybe you've already started a few things, but again, I'm sorry, let me take this out. We have a chapter 2 discussion board and a chapter 5 discussion board. How much do you want to talk about those? Because it's already 8:18.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is chapter 2, and the reason they're out of order is one is about preventing injuries and the other one is about treating injuries. I mean, why they should be back to back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And 2 is actually about treating injuries, which is like first aid kits. No, you're right.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
take
that's like-
I take that back. You are right.
Yeah, yeah.
Preventing injuries and protecting children's safety is 2, and then treating injuries. If you work in a child development center, you have to have completed the CPR and first aid training. Don't do what I did, and that's 16 hours of training. Don't be what I did, or 14, whatever it is. Don't do like what I did and let mine lapse, because if it lapses, you have to take it all 16 hours over again. But as long as you renew every 2 years, you only have to do 8 hours of training. So you want to make sure that's another thing. Get that training in. It's your CPR and your first aid, and then make sure it's from a qualified agency. And then you are ready to go, essentially ready, to go to work. Those are the 2 trainings. And there may have added one on ACEs now or something. I'm not really sure what else they've added, or something about children with special needs. They may have added more trainings, but at the time I was licensed, they were there. So Appendix B is about pretty much the nuts and bolts of licensing. Title 22 licensing regulation highlights the things that are pretty much the most common things that you're going to run into, and when you work in a child care center and or in a home. And just know that they come and word gets through the center real quick. They're here, and there's a mad flurry of, oh crud, what's out? What's not supposed to be out? Where are my scissors? And you're madly getting everything in order. But you do want to know what some of these things are. So one of the assignments is this scavenger hunt. Now, before this book was written, students had to go through Title 22 and find all this stuff in this humongous document. Well, now with this Appendix B, I can now tell you with great confidence that everything that's on the scavenger hunt assignment is in Appendix B. So it's basically, what are the qualifications of a teacher? What do you need? Write them down. This is going to be, it's almost, I don't want to call it busy work, but I also think these are things you need to know. Yeah. And
question, can I step back one question?
Yes.
On the CPR training, are there virtual versions that work, or does it?
No, because you have to physically demonstrate that you can do 2 minutes of chest compressions. Without
staying alive, right? Staying alive.
Yeah. And yes, you have to physically do 2 minutes on your hands and knees of chest compressions, or be able to do them, because you really can't stand an unconscious person up and have them do chest compressions on them. It just doesn't work. Reminds me of A Weekend at Bernie's. If you've ever seen that movie.
The cult classic. If you haven't seen it, it was just these 2 guys dragging their dead uncle around Florida.
Their dead guy around acting like he's alive. It's just.
Yeah. So, and that's interesting, because where COVID has put us all on a type of a health alert or safety alert, there's some things that it's curtailed. Like, I mean, can't do your CPR class. I don't know how they're doing it right now. That's a great question. We'll have to look into that. I'm going to write that down.
That's the Darcy question.
I'm going to ask classes. Okay.
They could do it virtually, and you just have to be on camera doing it. But I think
I've done the first aid. I've done the first aid in an online class, because that's
doable. I don't know.
Yeah, that's doable.
That's a good question, but I think they could do it socially distanced outside with masks. But the other thing is, you have a mask on when you're breathing into this mannequin. And so I don't know. I don't know. That's a really good question, how they're doing it, because you cannot get a pass on that.
I know that for us, when I used to work at a school, we had a little like red thing where like it was like plastic and then a little hole on it where you could like blow through it, so like the saliva wouldn't go through it. So I mean, maybe like stuff like that would help.
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it, but it would be really interesting, because you have to have that and you have to be current on it. And I don't think DSS is going to waver on CPR and first aid.
Yeah, it's not optional. It's probably
not optional,
the
but
layperson has it now too.
yeah, whatever you do, if this is the field you're going to be working in, don't let it lapse.
Yeah, right. Because who's got extra time to be doing stuff like that?
And it's due, if it says you're good until February 14th, you're actually good until the end of that month.
Oh, okay.
So that's a little tidbit that I remember, because as long as it's completed within that month, then you're good. So anyway, so that's it. So that's the assignment that was added on there for a module. Can you pop up? Can you do a stop share? And what I think that's all we have.
I think that's it for the module, but I'll share again.
They're nothing really tricky in any of these. It was actually kind of hard to come up with questions this time, because if you've had CPR and first aid, and if you've had, it's really so basic. I mean, it's not so basic, but there wasn't a lot. The discussion board on preventing injuries and then caring for minor injuries, and managing emergencies, the basic required information was there. So it's, yeah. And then this time you do have the 3 options. Can you click on 2 for me?
And just looking ahead, I know that the mandated reporter is kind of it's a lot, but it's 2 weeks. It's due in 2 weeks. So you have time to do it, even if you got an hour in and an hour there. And I started taking it myself. It's one of those that you can't exactly walk away and you can't exactly open another window. So just be mindful of.
Yeah. Okay, so scroll down to the 3 options for me. So this is how I've done my, where you get some choice. So option 1 is active supervision. So within this, you can read the 3 options, decide which one you want to do as your big post, and you'll answer these questions. So you would watch this playground safety. That's a video from a guy, and he talks about playground supervision. And then in your main post, you're gonna use the information from that, as well as the information from the textbook, kind of mix them together and come up with a post about like, what are the purposes of these guidelines and what are they really intended to do? It's think about that from, again, a parent's perspective and a teacher's perspective, and maybe a school district or a school's perspective. The school, they don't want to get sued, obviously. That might be like one of their big things. Obviously they want to be safe, but they may just also want to avoid litigation too, because some people will think that schools have deep pockets, and so they're looking to make sure that they keep people safe. And then creating a creature shelter of safety. I shared a story about my daughter. That was one of my things about remembering to pick that darn thing up. And it was like, just whatever. But it's the idea of creating a culture of safety. What is that? And then option 3, how do you teach children about safety? How do you teach them? How would you carry out, teaching children about safety? Because every once in a while you hear a story about how a child you're a 2-year-old, called 911 and knew what to do. So we have children who are very powerful and can learn. So you'll pick one of these, click reply, scroll down.
Oh, sorry.
Scroll down, Marianne. So then you click reply. The first line is going to be option 3, teaching children about safety, main post, and put, I don't know, their name should show up, so you shouldn't have to put your name there, but just make sure that you put the option number and that it's your main post. And then after that, it'll all just fall into order. They'll all be mixed together. So then when you go to reply, you're going to reply to somebody who says main post, and you just reply as if you were replying to their main post.
Right. So if I was going to choose option 3, I'd be like, option 3, teaching children about safety, and then answer the prompts.
Right.
And then I would answer another person who.
From option 2, you're going to go reply to somebody from option 2, which means you need to go read the, if there was an article attached to option 2 or option 3, you'd read that article, watch that video, and then reply and not repeat the same thing. So these 3 options do a couple of things. They give you some choice and an interest, and they also help us as instructors, because we don't have to read 30 replies that all say the same thing. So add something new, give an example, share a resource. Oh, here's this YouTube video on how to help your child build their very own first aid kit. And something like that. Teaching children about safety. When I was looking for videos, I was like, oh my gosh, there's all these YouTube things for how to do it as a parent-child activity and build their own
project or anything. Yeah.
And practice with your dolls or your stuffed animals. I'm like, what a great idea. Wow. There, I gave away that answer. But yeah, but the idea is to not keep repeating the same thing over and over and over.
I do see here from, just going back real quick, from Leslie put in there in the chat, I took classes in December and they said, all we need to do is chest compressions, just chest compressions.
Oh, okay. So they don't want to do the breathing anymore, because you can really damage lungs and diaphragms really easy.
Yeah, which is wild. So wow, we went over a lot of things tonight. Let me just go back again to let me just go back to the Canvas main. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have clicked off that one, but the Canvas main piece, which is just almost like, we'll use it like a checklist. This is the discussion board for chapter 2. Should we jump over to chapter 5 discussion board?
Sure. I mean, if you want to look at the board, if you need to go, this is going to be the first week that you'll see these 3 options. And believe me, we're going to be very full of a lot of grace and helping you get through, learning how to do this a different way than probably, unless you've had a class with me before. This is how I do my classes, with the 3 choices of discussion boards, because for a lot of reasons, but I personally like it a lot.
So we have 2 discussion boards, assignment and an assignment. So let's
assignment, and then just assignment to start working on yourself.
So here's chapter 5.
Right.
And then we will, after this, we'll let you guys go. It's been about Yeah, perfect.
So,
all right.
Yeah. So I just wanted to see what the 3 options were.
Good. All the way down.
So your first line should always be main post. Oh, I did add something about head injuries. Yes. And so there's something right here about head injuries with children. Harvard, that was really enlightening from the Harvard, the Center for the Developing Child from Harvard. They have some wonderful references there. And if you notice, I will tend to put the citation right there with every, if I use a resource, I will give you the reference. I will give you the citation for it as well.
Right here. Cool. All right. And then number 2.
And then the other one is talking to kids about the coronavirus. There's been a lot of things that have happened. We've seen our communities really rise up, but share a resource that might be useful for supporting families, like that maybe you've come across, like, and then at the bottom of this talking to kids about the coronavirus, it's from the childmind.org, and it has on the bottom, it has some related readings. One is about helping children with anxiety, so it's like uncovering the trail. One thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. But people are getting burnt out about this whole thing, and how do we keep this going with kids, especially as numbers are dropping and so are wearing masks.
And just a real quick jump in as a side note, the Angst documentary viewing is tomorrow. I put that as,
oh yes, thank you.
And talk about anxiety. It's a documentary on anxiety. So I put that in the announcements, the flyers. You do have to register ahead of time, but I'll put the registration in the chat box. It's just
Thank
our
you.
regular here.
Yeah, so you can catch that later.
And
And
then this
then,
last
yeah,
one.
and you put it in an announcement, correct?
I did put it in an announcement. I put the flyer in there, but I'll send the link in chat right now.
Okay, about, yes, I want to watch it, but I would, I have something I have to do.
Yeah, I have that in the middle of 2 other meetings and parent teacher conferences at the same time. So
Yes.
perfect.
Well, I'm hoping at least there's a recording of the angst.
I think they're doing a replay, so just sign up for it even if you can't go. I think that they're giving
Yes.
access to a replay. And then there's a panel afterwards.
Right. Right. Yeah, maybe I'll make it in time for the panel. But anyway, have a great week. We're here if you have questions, comments, concerns, we're here. Hi there.
I see a princess.
Bye, Leticia. You saying bye-bye?
Say bye.
Bye-bye.
Say good night.
Good night. Have a good
Bye,
sleep.
Leslie.
Oh,
Oh, Lillian has our little person, Nicole.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye, Lillian. Bye, everybody. We'll see you
Night.
Monday.
Handfuls.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Guys,
Bye.
let us know if you have any questions. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. Bye,
you.
Lisa. Bye, Lillian.
Bye.
No guy's name, Lillian.
This is Reese.
Oh,
Reese.
that's right. RYS, Reese.
RHYS.
Remember that. Okay.
Bye.
Bye,
See
Reese.
you next time.
Bye. Okay, bye.
Yay. That worked out great.
Lock us out. Stop recording.
Oh yeah, hold on.